I've lost track of how many times I've sat down and filmed this video. But as we all know, January 2020 was about 5 months long, and every time that I would film this video, before I could get it edited and uploaded, my life completely changed. So far this year, the biggest change that is going to lead to having a huge impact on my financial goals is that I lost my job. So until I find something else and get stabilized, it's hard to set goals. So what I'm going to set forth here are goals that I think are pretty generic and they're achievable based on my current situation and assuming that I can find some source of income that's halfway decent or even a good job somewhat soon, within the next couple of months or so. Goal number one is to completely pay off the credit cards. So as you guys know, last year I wanted to pay off the small one and then get the big one down to about 2,000, or maybe it was 2,500. Well, it's about 3,500, and the small one I still owe about $600 on. The goal this year is just to pay all of that off. And in doing so, that's going to eliminate a $31 payment and approximately an $89 payment each month. And that way it'll help with me being stretched so thin in my monthly budget. As far as completing this goal, the timeline is what's questionable, because if I find a job right away, then I still have a ton of money from severance and from my comp time being paid out. I do still have my savings as well that I had planned to have to tap into, but if I get a job right away and get that money coming in, then I'll just go ahead and use the rest of my severance and pay everything off. If that's the case, it'll be done in a month or two. If I don't find a job for a good while, I'm just going to keep going in my journey of paying off a minimum payment every month, paying it gradually, and when I get a windfall here or there, putting that toward it. The second goal, hoard money. This was also a goal last year, and although I only got about $1,700 put away, having that as an emergency fund and then being laid off showed exactly what that purpose is for, so that I'm not totally screwed when something like that happens, and I'm able to get myself by for a little while. So this year, I want to continue to contribute to that, build it back up, and my ultimate goal, although this is not just for 2020, but overall, would be to have basically a year's income in savings after taxes. So with my last employer, they took about 22% out for taxes. So let's say I make $35,000 a year, whatever subtracting 22% of that would be, that's what I'd want to have in there. But that's more of a long-term goal. Hoarding money will primarily be into my emergency fund. Maybe some of it will be set aside for more specific sinking funds. The third goal is to refinance my car loan. I feel like compared to my student loans, my car loan has been very easy to deal with, and I'm making a good bit of progress on it. But keep in mind that when I took it out, my credit score was like a 500, and it's a super subprime loan. I think the interest rate is 15 point something percent, which is incredibly high for a car loan. So about half of each payment is going toward interest. My credit score now is around 675, and if I do go ahead and pay off those credit cards here soon, there should be a pretty big jump in the score once I have my available credit up and my usage down. So I will be working on refinancing that loan. The only thing is I think they're going to want to see that I have employment, so I'm probably going to have to wait until I have a job to do that. But otherwise, not only should I be able to shorten the time frame of the loan, but I should be able to lower the monthly payment too, which again will help me to not be so stretched financially. There will definitely be financial challenges this year too. The biggest one, of course, is not having a job right now and not having a future source of income. I'm working on that. I'm spending every day pretty much full time applying for jobs, and hopefully I'll have something soon. If not, I'll just open up my availability for TaskRabbit and bring some money in that way so that I'm spending through what I have at a slower rate. The other big financial challenge that I see is that something may happen with my student loans still. So the ones that are defaulted, that I was sued on several years back, and then they dropped the case, it's always possible they might do that again. And if that's the case, then I will have attorney's fees and all those things I have to pay to challenge that. And with that, it's something that I have no way of planning for, no way of knowing about if it's going to happen. So I just have to throw it out there as a possibility of something that could happen this year. There are some potential positives that might happen this year too. Probably the biggest one, and this is something that keeps getting pushed back, but it will happen eventually. You guys might not agree it's a good idea, but my best friend is my ex-girlfriend, and she is trying to move here. She wants to move in with me, and we're gonna split rent. If you guys see, rent is my biggest expense, and cutting that in half would be huge. Just an absolute huge change for me. Not to mention that splitting the utilities would help too. It would probably make a difference of $400 and some a month. And it's much simpler to save like $400 and some a month by doing something like that than finding a way to make an extra $400 and some a month. So that will have a very noticeable positive effect on my life and finances if and when that happens. She has some challenges that she has to overcome before she can do that, which is why she didn't move here in January as planned. But it is something long term she's still planning on, and pretty much just whenever she wants to do that, we're going to do that. Which I'll follow up with you guys when it happens, and you'll see it in my budget with me's. And the second thing is, there is the potential that I actually have an asset now that produces income. And it won't be a lot. I mean, it might be like $100 a month, but it's something. And that, I can't say exactly what it is yet, but I guarantee you guys that within the next month I will make a video about it, and you'll know what it is when the video comes up. But I have purchased an asset, and an asset in the Robert Kiyosaki sense. So didn't cost me anything really, because I just took the money that I had and put it into that asset, and the value is still there. I didn't lose any money in the process, but now it has the potential to earn income. So when I put that video up, I'll explain everything, explain how it's gonna make me money and all of that. But I think that this is a sort of foothold, a start to being able to get some sort of passive income coming in. And that's been one of my biggest challenges, is just trying to get to the point of having an asset that I can then parlay into the next one and into the next one and build on each other that way. But when you just don't have anything and you're just straight up working hours for money, it's extremely difficult to get started. And this should be that. There are some things standing in the way where it might not be right away, but I at least won't lose money on it. It is an appreciable asset, and like I said, I just have to wait and explain to you guys about that a little bit later. The other good thing that I'm looking forward to this year is, as I've mentioned before, the court ordered everything in my mom's storage unit to be given to me, so it is technically my possession now, and I am making payments of $65 a month on that unit. But I'm in the process of clearing it out, and in doing so, if there's anything left that she wants to keep, I'm just going to consolidate it into my storage because it's only about half full. And then I will be able to get out of that $65 per month payment, which again will make it a little bit easier for me month to month to get by. It's going to be a lower income that I'm going to have to produce in order to meet my basic needs, which means that if I'm not able to find a great job, and say I have to work something like a retail job for a while to get by, it basically makes those low wage jobs closer to being able to fulfill what I need every month to get by. And then, of course, if there's anything that she doesn't want to keep, especially like furniture that's maybe not antiques, but just stuff that she doesn't need anymore, I'm going to be able to sell all of those items and get a little bit of money out of it. Probably not a lot. I would say out of everything, maybe $500 out of all of the furniture combined. But hey, that would pay off my small credit card. I realize that these aren't very exciting goals, especially not compared to last year's, and they're not super ambitious just because I don't have any idea what's going to happen later this year. But if nothing else, paying off debt and just hoarding money is going to have a big impact on my net worth. And since that's what I use to track my progress as far as paying off debt, then just keep watching my monthly budget reviews, and you should see that little black line on the net worth graph. You should see it start trending up faster and faster. By eliminating some of these payments this month, it does make my life easier, but it also means that I am able to snowball some of the money that I was putting aside for these things into other debts, which will then get them in turn paid off faster as well. So that's the plan. And if you just keep watching that graph, it's just going to go faster and faster as the years go on. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around with me. I've had a lot going on this January, like I think everybody has. And it's just been super long, so all the videos are late coming out, but I appreciate you guys being patient with that. Look forward to what's coming up in February. I'm going to have at least one video for you, and more than likely that video is going to be about that asset that I purchased. So if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe so that you can get that video when it comes out. It's a very long, weird story, so it's almost like a story time about this asset and how I came across it and what I'm going to be doing with it. But you'll see it's going to have a really positive impact on my net worth. So I think if you like this type of video, I think you're going to like to see what I do with that new asset.